Hello guys, very good evening to everyone. Can you please confirm? I hope I am audible and you guys can able to see my screen. Yes, Manisha, good evening. Good evening, Shraddha. Good evening, Sakshi, Shraddha, Sanika, Akansha, Akshata, Srushti, Utkarsha. Yes, guys, everyone, good evening right at there. Can everyone please confirm me? Am I audible clearly? You guys can able to see my screen? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's great. All right. So day before yesterday, we guys are had a session on the TCS questions. Now, similar to this, today also three questions we guys are going to be discuss. We are going to understand the logic behind all the approaches. And similar to this, we are going to implement with the code. So let us begin it one by one. So right here on a screen, you guys are going to get the question. You have to read it. Again, you are going to receive 3 to 5 minutes of time, depends on the question that we are going to be allocates. I want everyone to be cross-check with the logics, read the question properly, get through the logic, and then next to this, you put the logic either into the comment section of YouTube or to the Facebook or the student who joined this Zoom call. You can just post your logic, whatever you have understood. Accordingly, we guys are going to get to the next. So here we are. So let me get back to the question number one. So this is the question number one on the screen. Please gone through it. You have a time of 3 to 5 minutes to crack with the logic, and then we guys are going to write with the code. All right, everyone, time's up. Now you can just tell me whatever the logic that you have understood from this problem statement. What is the problem statement and what task we guys are going to be performs with? Yes, everyone in a call. Subtract the second word index from the first one index. If there is duplicate word, then we will prefer the last duplicate index. That's so nice, Neha. Okay, that was the logic given right at here. What we guys are going to do is simply as per the topic or the title that we will have for this question is what is the title that we can find out the minimum distance between the given two words. So in the input format, we guys are having a list that is the set of words. So here the array is going to pass out, that is a string array is going to pass to the function, and to the same function we guys are going to be forward with the two different words. So we have to send the two different words again. So as a part of example here, you guys can see this is the string list that we will have, and we have our word one as a D and word two as a fox. Now what we guys have to do is we have to find out the second or the minimum distance between the two words. So these two words are there in the list, that is the mandatory test cases, and we have to follow with their respective minimum distance, which means how much words, if I'm going to start with the same word right at there, like starting from the word one, then to reach to the word two, how much words are there that we have to print, and that too again in a minimum distance in between that both of the words. So here I'm going to be starts with the word one as D. Okay, so you guys can see after starting here we have another words as a quick, we have one more words as a brown, and then we are receiving with the fox, and that is the reason the minimum distance between these two words is nothing but a 3. And similar like this, if you observe the second given test cases, in the second given test cases the word one is occurs the two times, and as we want the minimum what we can say the distance between the two words, so I'm going to choose the second one where I can able to find out the minimum distance. And for this we required only two words to shuffle starting from TCS. So we have this contribute and then solution, and that is the reason we have here the output as a 2. Now this logic we guys are going to build right here along with the Python program. So as per our program, what I wanted to require is I have to read a list of strings. Now in a lot of programs we guys have read the list of integer values, the list of float values, and at the same time the list of the characters also. But here to read that list of string values, certain another code that we are going to be followed with, and simultaneously we are going to read the value of word one and word two, and then we have to process that logic to find out the minimum distance between the two words. Okay, let us do that in a code. So let me open the IDLE here. So I'm going to open IDLE for a Python program, and then at here we guys are going to write a code for finding out the minimum distance between two words. So let us open this. All right, now I am going to create a new file. So let me create a new file right at here. So in this new file, as per my code that I will have here is I'm going to be followed with inputting the string values. So let us input this list of strings. So to do that, I'm going to create a variable of array, and let me just maximize it. So array equals to, as it's must be the list. So I'm going to say the list of and the data from the input is already there in a string format. So we did not need to convert them to the other data type, which means we are not going to use any map function to map our values by converting to store in a other values of data. So as the data is coming in a string, so I'm going to say we have this input function, because the input function able to read the string type of value very easily. But we have more than one values to read by the separated by the spaces. So I'm going to use that function called as split to read the data. And after this, I'm going to read the word one. Let us store in w1 variable, and that is in a string. So simply input function we are going to use, and word two, that is w2, and that is also in a string. So simply input function we are going to use. Now, next to this, what we guys are going to follow with the approach as the logic. Okay, so as per the logic, we have to start with that w1 from the array, and we have to ends with the w2 to the array, and their indices we are going to store, and we are going to return the division or the subtraction between that respective indices. And if the word one occurs multiple times, then the value of that first index we are going to shuffle to that respective index right at there. So to do with that, what I'm going to do, as I wanted to works with the indices, so here I should have to follow the for loop with the range function. Instead of for element in the array, we can follow it with for in a range function. And to store their indices, I'm going to create again two different variable. Let us say d1 initially at 0 and d2 also initially at 0. So d1 must be the index of that word one from the array, and d2 must be the index of word two from the array. And at the last, we are going to subtract that value, and you can print that absolute difference right at there. Now our logic is belongs to the index, so I'm going to use this for loop for I in a range of the length of array. And here I'm going to say if the array of I is matches with word one. So if it is matches with the word one, then I'm going to say my D1 is must be the current index. So if it is getting repeated also, so we can able to find out that repetitions easily, and we can able to set the value of the D1 right at there. And then if again I'm going to put one more if here, so I'm just going to write using else if the array of I is matches with the word 2. So if it is matches with word 2, so I'm going to change my d2 to the again I. So here we are finding out the indices between that array for the word 1 and word 2, and if that is getting done, then we guys are going to store that value into the d1 and d2. And then at the last, after completion of these for loop, what I'm going to do, I am just going to print an absolute difference between d2 minus d1. So whatever must be that absolute difference, that is the right minimum distance between the two words. Okay, let me save this file as, let us, I'm going to save it as TCS, okay, coding as day 4. And now let us cross check all these code along with the input test case given right at there. So let us run the program right from here. And we have the inputs. Let me check with the inputs. So these are the inputs we will have: the quick, brown fox, quick. So let us input that here. So the quick, brown fox, quick. And the word one we will have as a the, and the second word that we will have, which is as a fox. Now the minimum difference or the minimum distance between these words is 3. Let us cross check the output. Yes, we are receiving the same output right at there. Now let us check for the second input test cases. So second input we will have as TCS company, TCS contribute solutions. So let us run the program again. So here I'm going to say TCS, okay, company, TCS contribute solutions. And we have the word one here as a TCS and word two as a solutions. Now let us hit an enter. and check the output. So here we are receiving the output as a 2. Let us cross check to the same input given here, that is also matches with the 2. Now let me add a one single extension to the same program. What kind of extensions I am going to add here? So let us say in the problem statement, they have mentioned one more constraint to our code. The constraint is like, okay, if the word 1 or word 2 is not there in the array, or as they have mentioned as a list of words, so I'm going to write the same one. If the word 1 or word 2 is not there as list of words, then return, or we can say then print as invalid. So we have to print that invalid to that block. Well, to do that, so just because of adding these simple extensions to our logic, certain part of codes are going to be changes. And what that part is going to change in the code, let us cross check with the same. So as per the logic, if the word 1 and word 2, okay, it's saying or operator. Okay, so we have a or conditions right at there. So if any of this word is not available in that list, so we have to return, or we have to print as an invalid. And if it is invalid, then whatever the logic we got written, that should not run on our problem statement. And to make sure about all this, what we guys are going to be followed here, before writing this for, I'm going to write that condition. Okay, what conditions I have to check? As I wanted to check if the word 1 is not there in the array, or if the word 2 is not there in array, then I have to print invalid, and rest of the codes I don't want to run for that respective conditions. So for this, certain people may think that, okay, we can write this if, okay, as a condition, the same one as w1 is not, or like not in the array, or this w2 is not in the array, then you can just print here as invalid, okay, with the same test cases given. And in else block, we may write this rest of the code. But as per this execution, what I suggest, this is not a right approach to design a code with a less time of numbers. So if you have less time, and if you may notice this condition at very last point of your code where 1 or 2 minutes is remaining, well, in that case, you should not follow such kind of approaches. What approaches that you have to follow? As if you got to know that one extra condition is going to be added to my program. In that case, don't put it into the if and else. Well, as we are writing a code in a simple editor of a Python, that is the reason we have make it very fast. But when it turns to the online compiler, for each and every line, you have to write the indentations manually. And to do that, you don't have that enough time to be works with. For that test cases, what you guys can do is, you don't write this else block. Okay, write the condition, do whatever the logic that we will have to the condition, and at the last, you just write the return statement. So what exactly is going to be happen? If this condition is going to be becomes true, then it is going to print invalid, and return means the program output is going to return from the statement, so that the rest of the logic is not going to run. Okay, let us check with the same. So here I'm going to run a code, and okay, whatever we got written, return must be the outside the function. As we don't return the functions right at here, you guys can use the exit as a function too. Okay, now let us run the code, and let us say these are the inputs that we will have, like ABC, PQR, XYZ, MNO, and STV. And let us say for the word 1, I got written ABC, which is available in a list. But for word 2, let us say I got written JKL, and which is not available in a list. So as per the logic, it is going to show the just invalid, and it is going to exit from that editor or that program. And that is the reason you guys see here in the output, we are getting that message, the program is still running, do you want to kill it? Okay, because we have uses that exist function, or the exist function right at there, so that it is going to close the ideally. As I don't want to close it, so I'm just going to close that block. And that is how it will goes outside of that execution. I hope you guys have understand what is the logic related to for these problem statement and how we guys got implemented right here with the same logic, and how to be checked with an add-on conditions given in the problem statement, and how to write a code for the same. Yes, everyone from the Facebook Live, from the YouTube, and the session, those have joined from the Zoom, please got confirm me right at here. Is that clear with the logic and the code that we got written? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, great. Okay, now let us get shifted to the second code right at here. So in the second code, again, you guys are having 2 to 5 minutes of time to check with the logic and put it here in the comment section. So here you guys are having the second question on screen. Both string patterns should be same. Now, should be same in terms of what, that we guys have to understand. See, today we guys are going to deal with two very important questions. The TCS is asking that questions very repeatedly, again with the same logic. One is of isomorphic, that also we guys are going to check. And the second question, which is at on our screen, the question number 3, that also we guys are going to check with that. These two questions in the question 1 are asking so many times again with the different like representation of information, but yes, the logic is very same. Okay, as you guys can see, when you are starting reading the questions, you might think that the question is so easy to implement, but when you're actually starting working on it, then you got to know that there are so many pinpoints available for this question. Okay, what is the question right at here? It's visible on a screen. Is what we have to check, the strings are isomorphic or not. Okay, check the two given strings are isomorphic to each other or not. And for this, we have the two string inputs, the string 1 and the string 2. Okay, when these both of the strings are called isomorphic if there is one-to-one mapping possible for every character of what? String 1 to every character of string 2. If that mapping is possible. Now, mapping in terms of what? Again, the two basic implementations are there. Let us check with that. And all occurrence of every character in the string 1 map to the same character in the string 2. So here we are having 3 input given test cases. Let us cross check our logic with these 3 input given test cases. So for the string 1, we have this AAB, and for the string 2, we have this XXY. So if you guys can check, the A here maps with the X. So first index of the string 1 is going to map with the first index of the string 2. And as the A occurs 2 times and X is occurs also 2 times, and the second character is match or map with the second character of the string 2. And that is the reason all mappings of the string 1 characters is going to match with the string 2, and here we are going to returns with the true. And similar like this, if you guys can check with the second given test cases. So again, with the same input, we will have the 2 occurrence of the first letter and then one more new occurrence of other letter. But here that occurrences are not there available, and that is the reason it returns with the false. And for the third input given test cases, the P is mapped with the A, and similar like this, the Q is mapped with the B, and similar like this, the R is mapped with the C. So every single characters are matching to their each others, and that is the reason again here it returns with the true. Now here mapping the character or mapping the both of the strings, that meaning it's completely included into the 2 different things. First is that character given at the current index of both of the strings are matches or mapping with the other string characters or not. And for this, we have very important conditions to understand is what? The length of the string 1 that we guys are going to input and the length of the string 2 that we are going to input should be matched to each other. If the lengths are not going to match, then definitely the output must be of false. Now, to make sure that each and every indices are mapping the same characters or not, we have to retrieve their counts also. We have to retrieve their indices also. So which means the count of that elements also I have to check. Length of the elements also I have to check. And on that respective indices, if the same mapping characters are present or not, that also I have to check for these both of the strings. Well, if that all conditions are being matched, then and then only we are going to say them as a true, else we have to say them as a false. Now let us write with this code, but before writing the code, okay, everyone right here in a call, please do confirm. I hope you guys have understand what is the logic what should be the implementation of a code. Yes, is that clear with this? Can you please confirm, write me at here? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Okay, let us begin with the implementation now. So here we are. So as per the problem statement, so I'm going to write the code to the same file. So let me remove with this. So as per the problem statement, we have to read the two given input string. So let us read that value. So string one adds input and the string two adds input. So we have read this both of the words right at there. So as we know, okay, as per the logic, if we guys are matches with the same length of that string, if the length one and if the length two are matches right at there, then and then only there is a possibility of returning true or printing the true. Else we are going to print them as a false. So for this, I'm going to check it out right at here. So to print that true and false, I'm going to create a variable as a result, an initial value that I'm going to store a boolean as a false. Now I am going to check it here as if the length of that string one, okay, is equals to the length of the string two. If that is matches, then there is a possibility of printing the true. Again, we have to cross confirm that data along with the indices and along with that count also, that we are going to do it later. But if it is not match, which means in else block, I'm going to set that value of result as a false, and whatever the value of that results we will have after the if else, I'm going to print it right at here. Okay, if the lengths are not going to match, then we are simply printing that result as a false, and that is how initially it is going to be work. Well, if both of the strings are going to match, now let us imagine the both of the strings are going to match. Now as per our problem statement, the very basic thing that we have to do is we have to iterate either from the string one or from the string two for map. And as here we needs to be works with the indices also. So instead of writing for ch in string, we should have to write a code using for I in the range function. Okay, let us do with this. So here I'm going to say for I in a range of this length of the string. So whatever that length of the string, it is going to be executes with. Now very first thing that I'm going to do on a same indices, I'm going to retrieve the character available at string one and the character available at string two. Let us retrieve that value and store it to the, let us say, variable element one and element two. So here I'm going to say element one must be of that string one of I. So current character we are retrieving from the string one and store it to the element one, and element two is the current character from the string 2. Okay, from that basically index. Okay, now if that character maybe occurs multiple times, so again we have to check with their count if that count of the both of character available at the same index is are equal or not. Okay, both are equal or not. So I have to check with this. So here I'm going to say again if, okay, that count, as I wanted to retrieve the count of element one from the string one. So we have an inbuilt function called as count to get the number of occurrences of character from the string. So I'm going to say if the string one dot count of element one is matches to the string two dot count of element two. If that is matches, well, for each and every indices, I have to check the code. Now I'm going to write that later. Okay, if that is not getting match, then in else block, again, I am going to set that value of result equal to false. And then after completion of these if block, we are going to get outside as there is no any mapping to the current characters we will have. So I don't want to check with the rest of my characters. So I'm going to break this loop also. Okay, if that is not getting match, which means it should not be followed with the right approach for the problem statement. And that is the reason we have written the result equal to false, and we are getting outside of the for, so that the value of that result false is going to print it on a screen. But let us say all this count of elements of string 1 and string 2 are getting matched. In that case, we have to check with their index position. Okay, now to check with the index position, again, I am going to retrieve the index of that element from the string 1 and the index of that element from the string 2. And to retrieve this, we guys are going to write a code as, let us say, I'm going to store that, index of that elements of string 1 and string 2 to the position 1 and position 2. So let us create a variable as position 1. Okay, so using the inbuilt function called as index, we can able to retrieve the index of that value very easily. So I'm going to say here as the string 1 dot index of that element 1, and position 2, I'm going to store string 1 dot index of element 2. It should be string 2, the same string we should not follow. Now we are retrieving the positions. Now again we have to check if that positions are matched to each other, then your result must be true. And if it is not going to match, then for this else block, again we are going to set result equal to false. As it is not matches to the current character, then you are going to break this loop. We don't need to check for rest of characters also, so that the value of false are going to print on that screen very easily. Now this is the logic that we got implemented. Now I'm going to save a code and let us run with the 3 given test cases right at there. So let us save the file and let us run a code. So for the first input, let me maximize it. Okay, I'm going to open to the new window so that you guys can able to see. So let me check with the given test cases. So first test case is AAB and XXY. So let us run a code. And here we are going to input as the value of first string is AAB and the value of second string is XXY. And the result must be what? True right at there. Okay, let us cross check the same input for the second test cases. So for the second test cases, again, we have AAB and XYZ. So let us run a program. And here I'm going to run as AAB and XYZ. So Y is not mapping to the given indices from the string 2. So it is going to return what? False right at here. Now let us cross check the same output for the third test cases given, which is PQR and ABC. So let us save this code again. Let us run a file. And here we are PQR and ABC. So here every single character are going to match with each other. So you guys can see it is going to print as a true. And that is what the result in the test cases is also got mentioned. I hope you guys have understand this logic of isomorphic string, how does it is going to be works with, and how on which pattern, what kind of thinking that we guys have followed with, and how we have returned with this code. Yes, quick yes or no from all the platforms right at here. I hope you have understood with this question and coding logic along with the same.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. What about others? Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Okay. Now let us works with the third question right at here. So I'm going to shift it to the third question on your screen. Guys, please read the question and again with the same approach, try to find out the logic related to it, and then we are going to build them here on a screen. So this is the last question from today itself. This is also one more very important question from the string. if a string contains all English alphabets from A to Z, then it's a pangram string. Else, it is not a pangram string. That is the logic. Yes, that is really good to understand. But now the very important question is how to cross check with all this data. How we guys are going to be write a code to cross check all alphabets are there or not. What is the logic behind all this? Yes, anyone from the call? Yes, what methodologies that we guys should have to be followed to check the all letters from the English alphabet must be available in a string. Yes, guys, think over it and tell me. As you can see the logic here, you can able to find out the solution very easily. But when it comes to the implementation, we should have to think on multiple aspects. For each problem statement, we should have more than one approaches to solve. So let us think over there and put it there in a comment section. Letter method. What is this letter method exactly, Harsha? As per my information, letter is a kind of variables which is uses for regular expressions in Python, that is going to update the value of that characters write it there with the again your ASCII values. So letter method, I haven't gone through it any more times, but that is also not a right logics to be get implement. Now, basically, what logic that you guys have to be followed for these problem statement is, firstly, you have to implement that, a dictionary that is stored from A to Z. Okay, let us go for uppercase or let us go for lowercase. That really not matters, but we have to create a dictionary where the key value is that character and initial value for each and every character that we are going to put it to the zero. Okay, and then we are going to iterate from that string that we will have and after iterating to the string, if that character match with the dictionary, we are going to increment that value by the +1. And then at the last, you can find out the sum of that values from the dictionary. If that sum is greater than or equals to that number of character, which is what, 26, then we are going to say yes is a pangram string. And if it is not matched with the sum, that means some of the characters are left, then we are going to print that is not a pangram string right at there. And to do that, so very important approach here, to create a dictionary that is going to be store 26 alphabets as a key value in a lower or upper cases, and then you have to have set their all initial values to the 0. Now to do that, so what we guys are going to be followed with here, let us get back. And very basic thing, as per the problem statement, we required a one string to be got input. So here I'm going to say as string 1 equals to input. And let us say in dictionary, I'm working the lowercase character. Okay, you can works with the uppercase also, or else you can works with the lowercase also, depends on your choice. Now here, as I'm working with the lowercase, maybe in the hidden test cases, some strings are written in a uppercase format. So to convert them to the lowercase, I'm going to say here the string 1 equals to string 1 dot lower, so that all the string characters are going to convert in a lower cases. Now next to this, as our task is to create a dictionary which is starting from A to Z characters, and there we knows that we have to run 26 times a loop, and we have to store that character, but we can't iterate the +1 to the character value. So for this, I'm going to use an ASCII value of small a, and I'm going to add that value of I from the loop and store it to the dictionary. To run that loop again, I'm going to create an empty dictionary here. Let us say data equals to dictionary, an empty dictionary I got created. Now, as of I know that there are 26 characters available, so I'm going to write a for loop till 26 times. So I in a range of 26. Now, as I wanted to works with the, our ASCII values, and we have a first character as a. So here I'm going to first create all the elements as data of, okay, this data of our key value should be the character. So I'm going to convert this character into by using the function called as chr. So chr of the ASCII of A, and to retrieve the ASCII values, we have an inbuilt function in Python as ORD. Okay, then ORD of this small a plus whatever the value of I. So this plus value of I returns B, C, D, E, F, and if that characters equals to, we have to set it to the 0. Now let me show you how does it is going to be works. So to do with this, here to write that code. Okay, let us say I wanted to add the B value, or I wanted to access the B value. So you guys can use simply the character of this ORD of your A, and we knows that A is occurring after, sorry, B is occurring after the A. So +1 should be get added. So this character of ORD of A +1 returns the character so called as B. And similar to this, if you got returns 10, so whatever the 10th character occurring from the A should be got written at here. So using this logic, we guys can all the characters, which those as I got mentioned in a lower case, if you got mentioned in uppercase, write it here. Let us say I got written capital A. So it is going to return the capital K right at there. So depends on your logic. If you're working with the lowercase value, you should put ORD of lowercase character. Okay, if you're working with uppercase value, then you should put ORD of uppercase character like the same. Now, using this approach, we are going to fulfill all this data along with our data got created and all 26 characters with the initial value as a 0. Okay, before understanding the next logic, let us print this data right at here. and then we are going to understand the next logic. So let us run this code, and just to get them understand, okay, here I'm going to input the string as LeadSoft placement academy, and now let us hit an enter. So you guys can see the A to Z characters or A to Z elements got created into the dictionary using that for loop, and it got with initial value as a 0. Now what is our task? Our task is to iterate from that entered string. Whatever we are going to be entered, that string I am going to be iterate from, and I'm going to, as we have already converted the string in a lowercase, so I'm going to update that value of dictionary elements, those matches with the given character of the string, by incrementing the +1. And then at the last, we have to retrieve that all the sum of values from the dictionary element. So let us work with this. So here, as per the logic, so I'm going to print that as it is, just to be get understood. So as per the logic, I have to iterate from the string. So let us iterate from the string. So here I'm going to say for string. Now, as you guys are observed here, our logic is purely not concerned with the index of character in a string. Our logic is purely concerned with the value of that string. So I have written a dynamic for loop for character string, and then I'm going to increment that value from the dictionary. So I'm going to say data of ch, okay, plus equals to 1. So the value of that current character from the dictionary is going to increment by the +1. And after these for loop also, let us print the dictionary and let us check what exactly happens in a backend. So let us rerun the code again. And here I'm going to be checked with, as again, I'm going to be input LeadSoft placement academy. And now let us hit an enter. We have this error. Okay, for the space. Okay, for the space, the element is not available, which means firstly I have to be check if the space, like as you guys can see in the input, after the LeadSoft, we are having a space, but that space we are not storing to our dictionary, and that is the reason we got received with the key error, because we are trying to access that character or the key of the dictionary which is not available right now into our dictionary. And to be works with this, what I'm going to do is here one more condition I'm going to add. So if that ch is equals to a space, then I'm going to say continue, so that I don't want to run with the code. So I simply got written as a continue. You can write, as we have one statement, so without indentation also we can write, or else you can write to the new line. Both meanings are same. Now let us write a code again. Let us rerun the file. And here I'm going to be input as LeadSoft placement academy. Now let us hit an enter. So you guys can see, as per the number of characters that we will have to this string, the A got set to the 4 because A occurrence is the 4. Now B is no more available. So B keep remains with the like again 0. The C are having 2 times, so C got set with the 2. So for entire characters, it is going to be check and increment that value. Now what you guys can do is, as after processing with that respective element of the strings, so we guys can observe here is, for each and every single element, the output is got printed, but that may be again sum of characters. So maybe certain other data is there, and we guys can see that other data is got printed with the sum of characters, but I don't want to work with this. So instead of incrementing that value, I'm going to set them to the 1. So if any other data is available or any character is available from the string, it is going to set it to the 1. Now let us cross check with the same again. So here I'm going to rerun the code, and I'm going to input the same program, like again LeadSoft placement academy. Now as per our logic, for that given character, if the character is available there, only it is going to set it to the 1. Now we can easily find out the sum of values, and how you can able to retrieve the list of only the values of dictionaries using the values function. Okay, like this, that dictionary name dot values. So if you can enter with this code, so you guys can see entire that only the values from the dictionaries are going to return, and dictionary dot keys function, if we execute, then only the characters or the keys from that dictionary are going to be returns with. Now, as I wanted to works with the values and I wanted to find out their sum. And if that sum is greater than or equal to 26, which means all characters are being matches, right? And if that is sum is less than or below 26, that means all characters are not matched. Now let us check with this whether what is the sum of all these values. So I'm going to say sum of this data dot values, and let us check for these given input test cases. So that is matches only 13 character, rest 13 characters are not there. So these input string is not pangram string. Now to decide this along with the code, what we guys are going to write with an extension is, after printing this data, I'm going to write a condition, write it here, is if that data dot or the sum of data dot values, okay, is greater than or equals to 26, then we are going to print here as per the output. What is the output? Let me cross check with this. So the output is a pangram. And if it is not, then is not a pangram. So let us work with this. So here, if it is that is matches, then I'm going to say is a pangram. Else, if that is not match, then I'm going to print is not a pangram. Now let us save the code and let us work with the given input test cases. Now this is the given input. So let me copy from here. And so the first test cases is a pangram. So let us run the code. And here I'm going to input this string and let us hit an enter. And you guys can see for every character it is setting to the 1 because all there on a screen, or all the characters or all the alphabets are there in a string, and that is the reason 111 it got printed after processing with the array, and it got printed as is a pangram. So if you find out again the sum of this data dot values, it must be greater than or equals to 26, right? Similar to this, if you are going to check with the second given test cases, let us check with the second given test cases where which characters are not matched. L, Z, and Y are missing. Okay, let us rerun the code and check with the same again. So I'm going to input that given test cases. So you guys can see output got printed as is not a paragram, and Y, Z, and L. Okay, let us check with L. Where is the L? So here we are having L. So their value set it to the 0, and that is how it got printed as is not a pangram string from our given input. I hope everyone in the call have understood what is the way of implementing this logic using the dictionary and how we get it done for these entire problem statement. Yes, guys, quick confirm me, write it here, yes or no. I hope everyone has understood with the same. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you have any doubt, you may ask to the comment section also, so that later onwards I can get back to the comments and I can check with that data properly. All right, so these three important questions from the question 1 on the string we guys have cross-check right here in a today's session. Again, one more questions tomorrow also we are having a class at the time of evening, and you guys have to be joined. And again, tomorrow's three questions from the question 1 on a string we guys are going to take, and from the day 6 we guys are going to be discuss on a question 2, what kind of approaches on a data structures it is going to be comes with, and how the things are going to be working right at there. Okay, we got receive a comment. Suppose, sir, there is a one character missing, but sum will be greater than or equals to 26, then it will be shows the correct output. But as per the logic, if the character is not there, it is going to set it to the 0, right? So I don't think the sum in that case, the sum should not be greater than or equals to 26. You can observe this scenario in the test cases too. So we have, let us run a code and let us understood with this for this doubt. So let us say I got executed with this code, and here we have this input. Okay, A, B, C, D. I'm going to skip the E character. So F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now, for this entire characters, you guys can see we haven't put the character E. Now, after processing, okay, after creating the dictionary and processing the dictionary, what exactly happening? Let us cross check here. So while creating the dictionary, for every character, value is going to set it to the 0. But while processing the dictionary, as E is not there, so here is the processing dictionary output on his screen. So the value of E keep remains the 0. And now if you find out their sum must be of 25. Okay, let me show you that one also. So the sum of data dot values, it must be written as a 25, because that E character is not there. So it should not be a 26. I hope you have understood, Priya. Please confirm me, write it here.
सर म्हणजे मी काय म्हणते की ABCD E तुम्ही स्किप केलात ना, पण ईच्या जागी समजा ए कॅरेक्टर डबल आला असेल तर त्याचं ते 2 वेळा काउंट करणार
Well,
ना,
let
मग
us
ते
let us cross
20.
check it. Okay, let us cross check it. So let us run a code. Okay, again with the same input. Okay, I'm going to copy the same and paste it here. And again, I'm going to say A, B, C, D, right? So A occurs 2 times, with the 2 times, C occurs also 2 times, and D occurs with the 2 times. But here, understand, I guess you might got skip with that block. Initially, we got written here that data of character plus equals to 1. But right now, like as by understanding this statement only, if any more characters are going to occur repeatedly, then we don't want to increment it. We just have to set it to the 1. And that is the reason we have set it here equals to 1. Now let us understand what approaches does it going to be followed. Now let us hit an enter and see the processing. The A keep remains to the 1. C also keep remains 1, and D also keep remains to the 1. As E does not occurs, that is the reason E has got printed to the 0. And again, if you find out the sum, okay, let us say sum of data dot values, again it is going to print as a 25. As we are not incrementing right now, just to get understand them initially, that logic we have uses. But for that given test cases, maybe some of the characters or some of any characters are got returned with that similar values. So for them, we are not incrementing. We are just going to set it to the 1. I hope now you have understood it clearly.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, any other one? Do you have any doubts for the same on this code? All right, that's it for today itself. Now, in the tomorrow session with the same time, again, we guys are going to be discuss with that approach of string container. And as we got discussed from the day 6, we guys are going to take that question to problem statement and try to get it solved. So everyone from the Facebook Live, YouTube Live, if you are new to our page or new to our channel, do not forget students to be get joined is must be matches to the number of likes right there. And still, if you have any questions, then you can put it to the entire comment section on this video. So later onwards, we guys are going to try to make them solve. So let us meet by tomorrow again with the same time of 6:30. And do share these videos to the needful people. And if you're new to our channel or to the our page, do not forget to follow and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching this video, guys. We are going to meet tomorrow again with the same time.